Please listen carefully.
Master Z Yip Man Legacy is a spin-off movie in the Yip Man franchise, which I actually haven't seen any of those films as of yet, but which, from my understanding, star Donnie Yen, who is not present in this film. He only serves as a producer, and it follows a character called Cheung Tin Chi, who I imagine was a side character in one of those previous Yip Man films. Currently, he's in Hong Kong. He has given up on training Kung Fu. He runs a small shop with his son, but of course, he finds himself entangled in a mystery involving drugs and violence and gangs throughout Hong Kong, and of course corrupt politicians. So he of course does what good guys do and takes the bad guys down. So this entry in the franchise is directed by Yuen Ping, who most people in the West will know for his work as a stunt coordinator for films such as The Matrix or Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. He's also done a ton of work in China, in Hong Kong, and he offers up an extremely solid martial arts film. Like a good musical, a martial arts film is judged more on the quality of its choreographies, of its set design, of its costuming, rather than anything like character development or plot. And in that respect, Master Z Yip Man Legacy really fulfills what it's trying to do. The action scenes and fight scenes are extremely well choreographed, and there's no surprise there considering who's involved. They're very inventive and fun to watch, and I would especially like to mention one fight scene that takes place across sort of these lamp and signposts that are all across this set that has been created for the occasion, and so the characters are just jumping from like bar sign to lamp sign and fighting almost on the walls of the restaurants and bars of this downtown Hong Kong street. It really is just very beautiful to watch and really puts to shame a lot of action scenes that we in the West tend to do with just an over-reliance on CG and green screen. And it also just highlights how for this type of film, it's maybe way more interesting to take fighters and teach them how to act rather than take actors and teach them how to fight. As far as the actors go, Dave Bautista is absolutely delightful as this heroin dealer bad guy. And I love the fact that as the American of the film, the #1 most American thing apparently for Chinese audiences is a massive jacked up Dave Bautista grilling steaks. And of course, Michelle Yeoh is in there, amazing as ever. The immense Michelle Yeoh, whom, you know, was just a treat to see her fight with a saber, so it brought back a lot of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon memories. Now, as far as the politics of this film goes, I'm not going to go into too many details because I am in no way a specialist of Chinese politics. However, I had heard before that these Yip Man series are very, very pro-Chinese, and that's fine. I mean, American blockbusters are very pro-American. And you can definitely see that in sort of the bad guys of the films are all foreigners, mainly embodied by this British imperial police officer. So the film kind of positions itself as this anti-colonial sort of fable. And of course, Dave Bautista is like the American bad guy who's bringing drugs into this peaceful Chinese society. And again, I'm perfectly fine with that, especially considering how poorly represented foreigners are in, or have been at least for a very long time, in American cinema, but even British or French cinema, it's just as bad. However, one thing that is interesting is that the film is in Mandarin, or it's apparently in Mandarin. I mean, it's not like I can actually know, but from what I understand, the film is effectively in Mandarin. And of course, the language that is the most commonly spoken in Hong Kong, still to this day, but particularly at the time this film is set, which is somewhere like in the 50s, is and was Cantonese. And ever since Hong Kong has been integrated back into mainland China in 1997, the government has pushed Mandarin and sort of mainland Chinese culture onto Hong Kong that supposedly enjoys some sort of autonomy. But I know that that is a big problem, and just currently there's, you know, a lot of protests going down and the actual question of mainland China and autonomy within Hong Kong is a big issue and has been for the last 20 years. Now, I don't want to get into more detail because, like I said, it's not something that I'm particularly well versed in, but I did feel that the film both had, like I said, this sort of anti-colonial message and sort of concurrently felt very imperialistic in the same way that British, French, or American cinema can feel at times. So as always, thanks very much for watching the video. Please be sure to hit the like button if you like the review. Subscribe if you're new, and until next time, see ya!